Today marks the second anniversary of the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Pro-Trump supporters stormed the Capitol in an attempt to overturn the election results.
Now, their efforts were unsuccessful, but following the attack, the House created a committee to investigate what led up to the insurrection. Tonight, our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp is joining us live from the U.S. Capitol. Rachel, you have followed along the committee's hearings, the activities. What did you learn from that final report?
Well, Mike and Eva, we knew that the committee has been pointing the finger at former President Donald Trump for the attack. But in this 800-plus page report, it also names Pennsylvania Representatives Mike Kelly, former Chief of Staff, as allegedly being part of the scheme. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol attack pulled out all the stops in their investigation, gathering more than 1,000 witness interviews.
I did not see evidence of fraud that would have affected the outcome of the election.
1 million pages of documents and issuing subpoenas. Through their nearly 18-month-long investigation, the committee laid out what they say was a multi-part plan by former President Donald Trump and his allies to overturn the 2020 presidential election.
He mounted a pressure campaign directed at individual state legislators to try to get them to go back into session and either declare him the winner, decertify Joe Biden as the winner, or send two slates of electors to Congress, one for Biden and one for him, and pressure Vice President Pence to choose him as the winner.
The committee says part of that plan was a fake elector scheme.
At the request of the Trump campaign, the electors from these battleground states signed documents falsely asserting that they were the, quote, duly elected electors from their state.
According to the committee's final report, 2 days before the attack, the Trump campaign asked Republican Party officials in Wisconsin to fly their fake elector documents to D.C. The committee alleges the former chief of staff for Representative Mike Kelly for taking part in this. Transcripts would later allege Matt Stroya as Kelly's former chief of staff. The report states, on the morning of January 6, Representative Kelly's then chief of staff texted an aide to the vice president, Chris Hodgson, about hand-delivering the fake elector votes to the vice president's team before the joint session, a message that Hodgson ignored. Quote, just following up any chance you or someone from your team can meet to take the Michigan and Wisconsin packets, end quote. The report continues saying, according to the office of Senator Ron Johnson, Representative Kelly's chief of staff then had a phone call with Senator Johnson's chief of staff at 11:58 a.m. about how Kelly's office could get us the electors because they had it.
A staffer for Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson texted a staffer for Vice President Pence just minutes before the beginning of the joint session. This staffer stated that Senator Johnson wished to hand-deliver to the vice president the fake electors' votes from Michigan and Wisconsin. The vice president's aide unambiguously instructed them not to deliver the fake votes to the vice president.
A statement from Rep. Kelly's press secretary initially denied those claims from Johnson's office, calling them patently false. Kelly's office would later launch their own internal investigation. Kelly's press secretary told us in an email, to date, our current chief of staff has not found staff members to have prior knowledge of Mr. Stroya's reported actions. They also add, quote, further, Mr. Kelly is unaware of Mr. Stroya's reported actions. We have closed the internal review, end quote. According to the transcripts released by the committee, they interviewed Pennsylvania Republican political operative Mike Roman. In the transcripts, they asked him about 25 messages between himself and Matt Stroya. In the transcripts, the committee suggests Stroya may have been involved in a November state Senate hearing in Gettysburg, which pushed unfounded claims of fraud in the state's election. The committee says Stroya and Roman shared text messages day before that meeting between the two, which they allege Stroya says in part, I hope it turns out like we envisioned. Roman would plead the fifth quite often in the committee's questioning, including when the committee asked point blank, did Mr. Stroya or Representative Kelly assist in any efforts to have state legislators choose Trump electors in Pennsylvania after the November 2020 election? Roman replied, the fifth. The committee followed up with, did you ever talk to Representative Kelly about having Pennsylvania state legislature choose Trump electors? Roman would again reply, the fifth. Now, Mr. Stroya declined to comment when we reached out to him on this story. We also reached out to Rep. Kelly's office. His press secretary told us in an email that he would be unable to meet for an interview this week due to the back and forth of the speaker votes going on right now, but they also added that they don't have any additional comments on the January 6th committee's report.